G'day, Gaming Yarns here, and with the Dead Space remake on the horizon, we should take a trip back to 2008 to the original Dead Space and find out why this game was so awesome and considered a masterpiece, and why the remake has some big ass space boots to fill. Dead Space came at a time when survival horror was on the drop. Well, sort of, I guess. With the way of action horror games soon to be thrusted into the market, and for me, tank survival horror games into oblivion, once the tank controls got removed from games, we had the likes of Resident Evil 4 roundhouse kick its way to the top. Dead Space having a huge influence from this game, even stated early Dead Space was to be Resident Evil in space. Dead Space came from the brain of Glenn Schofield and Visceral Games, and was published by EA.
EA Sports. It's in the game.
Most notably known for its sports games, so this was way left field for them. It originally started off as a game where you had to escape a prison on a moon, with horrible alien-like creatures trying to hinder you. I recognise that plot. But that went nowhere, and we have the story that we all love now. Dead Space is a one-of-a-kind game, which is a thrill ride from start to finish. This kind of game doesn't come around very often, and now let's dive into why I and many others believe this game to be a masterpiece. A 10 out of 10. So we have a futuristic space horror themed game. What gameplay mechanics should be there? Zero G. Check. Obviously we need sections that are in a vacuum. Check. Holograms? Check. Wild weaponry and ease of use? Check. Essentially these mechanics make for a very unique experience, especially in 2008. But even now this game holds the fuck up. But more on that later. First up, presentation, and why the horror remains to this day. This review will hopefully get you even more pumped for the remake, but as I always say, there is always a but. Will they deliver? I'm hoping so. Make us whole again is the line that goes hand in hand with Dead Space. Put simply, you are Isaac Clarke on your way to the USG Ishimura to find out why the ship has gone dark, and to save your lovely girlfriend Nicole, who is also on board. Nicole is always banging on about making them whole again, which you assume at this point is to be together. Little did he know. Isaac is an engineer who is there to help on the ship, but ultimately find Nicole, and with his ragtag crew made up of Daniels and Hammond, and a few people who are about to die very quickly, make their way to the USG Ishimura. Right, from this point I fell in love with the design and look of this game, absolutely stunning. But looking back though, the brown, why the brown? I guess that was a thing. Everything was brown. Resident Evil 4. It's a special looking game as the cutscenes transition seamlessly into gameplay, as the cutscenes are gameplay rendered graphics, so you really feel a part of the action, cutscene and gameplay alike. Just moving around in these early areas is great, exploring, wondering what horrors await. Isaac gets told to hit the switch in the other room to open this door. Okay. That's probably not supposed to happen. Oh, holy shit, that's really not supposed to happen. Run, motherfucker, run! It's tense, loud, horrifying. Okay, we're at the elevator. We all know this is a safe space. Oh, what the fuck? Shut the door, shut the door, shut the door! This is an opening to a horror game. You feel completely useless and helpless. The build-up is what makes this game so good. Like, we just saw the tension was rising with a stellar soundtrack, and then they isolate Isaac away from the group, and BAM! All hell breaks loose. It's a masterclass in horror gaming, essentially a loop of build-up tension, exploding horror, you freak the fuck out, or die or live, and then you move on. Now I'm not saying it's repetitive, far from it. The build-up is a mere feeling. Build-up includes noises such as monsters and vents, whispers, audio cues, fogged up areas. You get the idea. They say the horror is not what is in the dark, it's not knowing what's in the dark, and Dead Space delivers on all sides of the ship. The audio and lighting in this game is on point, and it's always mucking around with your mind, not knowing if the shadows are real monsters. The flickering lights and audio cues always keep you tensed up and doubting your ability to proceed unscathed. Is there a gang of necros in the next room? Doubt it, but there's always a chance, even early in the game. Not till later in the game you get multiple consistently running at you, which is calm and collected, not a problem. But the way this game is designed, you're not calm and collected, you're panic-stricken and wildly firing. The whispers are very unnerving and the sound effects really make you want to put the controller down, come back, and change your pants. provoking fear for the player. It's not just jump scares, but through visual audio, frightening horror feels. The whole game from start to finish, the sound effects, enemy design, all of it. You just get scared and want to put the controller down and just pause for a bit. But you can't pause the game, as when you bring up the item menu for a brief pause, you realize it's in-game, so no pause moment. This game makes you paranoid as Kevin Spacey leaving Epstein's island. The way the enemies are presented and how they're revealed. Take the regenerator. You just have to run. You can't kill this thing. The clue is, I guess, in the name. But I wasn't paying attention, and I took it down. Mission accomplished. Oh wait, this motherfucker's legs are growing back. Oh shit, get the fuck out of here. Ah! Essentially, Dead Space uses build-up brilliantly, which enhances combat tension, combining the psychological horror of not knowing what's around the corner and your ability to overthink every situation to remain one of the scariest games I have ever played. What is great is you get to actually explore the horrors of the Ishimura, not just see it in a cutscene. The blood and guts smushed all over the walls, love it. And eventually you reach the station. Phew, you feel relieved, horror complete, for now. I would go into power nodes and upskilling your weapons and suits, but I think the idea is the same as most games. You find power nodes and you can use them in a skill tree, boom, better weapons. But upgrading your suit to the next level is pretty cool. The animation is awesome, and I enjoyed every time I see it. Also, you can buy bullets and items in the store. Also, power nodes unlock doors, so do you use on a door or save for the workbench? Here's a tip, always use it on the door. So Zero G, a clever design, however slightly goofy and a little bit lacking in this particular game. But what they did with this in Dead Space 2 just blew me away. In Zero G sections you get to jump from area to area as no gravity, you know how it is. A total trip when you're upside down trying to work out how to get back to the ground. I particularly love the section where you jump to this meteor and have to run and jump around to destroy these locks. Partaking in this kind of gameplay is very immersive. You are Isaac. The vacuum sections are nice as well. The timer adds a slight panic as well, and when the devs throw necros at you all in the one seed, it's hella satisfying getting to the other end in one piece. But my favourite mechanic has to be the diegetic HUD. Now looking at this image, you're thinking, where's my health? Where's my status level? Where are my bullets? Well, look closely and it's all represented on your suit and gun in a very simplistic and masterful way. Health running up the spine of the rig suit? Check. Status level to the right in a circular gauge? Check. And bullets? Well, look no further than your gun. Diegetic essentially means a part of the environment. Remembering this is 2008. Where is your inventory? Well, you bring it up as a hologram and sift through all your crap here. But becoming very tense though is when you bring up your inventory, you usually get to have a break from the horror, but not here. It's live. Better be quick and efficient in the middle of a fight. Tension-raising mechanics. Dead Space is survival, and the amount of times you run out of bullets and then a necro gets thrown at you and you have to work out another way of doing it, it made survival cool. My inventory is full, so I'll use health now so I have room to pick up something later. It makes trying to survive fun. Survival horror is all about item management because that brings an extra level of tension. Also, video and audio logs are holograms and actually look like holograms, unlike the remake, which is very crisp in look. The haze and static in the image gives you the sense of breakdown in communication, and their calls are only just getting through to you. It's like FaceTiming in the early days with no coverage. Up next we need to talk about the weaponry and how they play out. The weapons are more like tools, utility tools, brilliantly designed. Being in space and Isaac an engineer who fixes ships and cracks planets, you can see how these weapons have a design about them which makes sense. The mighty plasma cutter, a weapon that looks like a tool to cut through items on a small scale, and the even tougher line gun, which is a souped up version for slicing through big items. The weaponry is totally awesome, except the flamethrower. Fuck the flamethrower. They all have alternate fire modes, such as the Ripper, a saw blade shooting tool, which the first attack is locked onto the gun and hovers in front of you, and you can slice and dice what's directly in front of you. Damn! And the secondary fire is just straight shooting the blades into the necromorphs. The assault rifle has an interesting secondary fire, but the plasma cutter holds a special place in my heart. The ability to change direction for legs and arms is a truly masterclass in design, yet simplistic but brilliantly done. The line gun being my favourite, a big ass plasma cutter to the layman, shoot a giant blade of energy to wipe out the necro's legs and finish with the cutter. You also have the likes of the contact beam, which just blows away the necros to the other side of the screen, and also the force gun, a shockwave gun, essentially a shotgun. Honestly though, apart from the little janky 0G, which isn't too bad, the gameplay mechanics are almost flawless. There is some real nice weight to Isaac's running and stomping, and the slow melee attack really shows Isaac ain't a brawler. Everything about these mechanics is immersive and masterfully crafted, really thought out and executed perfectly. Now combat, there's not much to say here except paralyzing necromorphs is super fun. Just tweaking the aim of the game from shooting the head off a zombie, which at this point has been played to the death, to cut the limbs off, however simple, changes the whole combat structure. It is very unique to Dead Space at the time and synonymous with this franchise. Planning on how to take out hordes is so much fun and gets very overwhelming. But that's when the line gun brutalizes everything. Running and shooting is also here, which helps out a lot, so you can cheese it out of there while shooting through the necros.
Cheese it!
More awesome mechanics include status and kinesis, which essentially is slowing things down and moving stuff about. Kinesis is more for puzzles and such, and throwing shit at necros, where stasis is more important. After a few fights, you work out that slowing these mofos down and picking their limbs off is super satisfying, and when the status wears off, they fall to a heap of body parts at your feet. The replayability here is large with the New Game Plus. More difficulty, collectibles, and audio logs to find. I haven't finished Impossible Mode yet. Yes, I know it's been 15 years, but I have other things to do. But I will be streaming that soon, so look out for that if you've made it this far in the video. The story? Well, I'm not going to go into the story as a remake's coming, and they say it's very similar, so I don't want to add spoilers to this. I will say though, the marker is a very cool monument, and unitology? Fuck them guys. I'm not going to go into the different types of necromorphs, because if you're watching this and you haven't played it, they're very unique, and you just got to see them for yourself. Thanks for listening and watching this. If you got this far, I very much appreciate it, and more Dead Space content coming, ready for the remake on January 27th. Peace.